Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Bhuvnesh has already told me that we have a tight schedule, half an hour, and so we will try and do it within that. To Mr. Amarnath, we tried to sit down as per our pictures so you can know who's who. I think they call this the veteran session. It could have been the people who retired, retiree session, or it could be some of us, people like Rajiv and others who are legends. So it could be a session of that. But it's wonderful. I think we are three of us here, and I think we'll be joining Yateendra will join us soon. Between us, we have a combined experience of over 150 years. So it's wonderful to be moderating this session. Suresh was supposed to be doing this, and unfortunately he had to go for some work, and so I've been asked to do these honors. Coming to, I think, as we don't have much time, and I'd like to start, I only hope, yeah. Hi, Yateendra, welcome. Can you hear us?
We can see him.
Yeah, at least he's smiling. Can you hear us, Yateendra? So Yati is the only one who's the young veteran amongst all of us, but it's lovely to have you also in this group. So I think we all know these two gentlemen and Yati very well, but still I think it's important for me to say that Rajiv and Farhat both started the career in 1978, as was informed by even Bhuvi. I started my career in 1976 with the Taj. So we're nearly the same, I think, vintage. And I have great memories, Rajiv, when you were the general manager of the Oberoi in Delhi. And I used to be the food and beverage manager at the Taj Mahal, Delhi. Ronnie was our general manager. He took over from Mr. Ravi Dubey. And we were very lucky to host the leading hotels of the world convention. And it was extremely prestigious, 350 hoteliers from the leading hotels of the world coming here. And of course, the Oberois and the Taj both wanted to outdo ourselves and see how we can impress this entire group. But I want to just share that even at that time, the kind of fraternity and comradeship, the camaraderie that we had. I remember very clearly that there were some wines that we wanted to give to the executive committee. And I called Rajiv, and I think Ribhu was there that time under you, if I'm not mistaken. And within a few minutes, they could give wine to the Taj. And vice versa. There were times when they wanted certain salmon and they didn't have it. And so the kind of, the camaraderie that we had during that time.
We didn't exchange guests. We exchanged supplies.
Exactly. So there was competition. There was healthy competition. But yes, we were supporting each other. So those were the days. Rajiv, after that, I remember moved to Egypt, in the Oberoi Mina House, and I had the privilege of going and seeing him there. A beautiful hotel, where sitting on the swimming pool, you could see the Great Pyramid. And I think you had a very exciting opportunity in Egypt. Later on, of course, we were very happy to see Rajiv coming to the Taj Bombay as Vice President and General Manager of the Taj Bombay for 18 months, as you just informed me. And later, of course, Rajiv did some extremely great job with the Leela group. It became one of the most well-known luxury group under Rajiv's leadership. So that was great interacting with Rajiv, and in many more forums we've been together. Farhat and I go back to Pusa Institute. I was 2 years senior to, 2 or 3 years senior to Farhat. And so we were very, very closely working. He always was with the Taj, and if he was in Bombay, I was in Delhi. I remember when Farhat opened the Orient Express restaurant at the Taj Palace, and Mr. Sherwood, the owner of the Orient Express, was called here to inaugurate that restaurant. Farhat traveled on the Orient Express from London to Vienna. So Venice, sorry. And so we had some great opportunities. Farhat, of course, worked in great properties in Chennai, in London, in Land's End, in the Taj Bombay, and finally he moved to the Lalit as the CEO. And I think the great experience that he had, which he was sharing with me, was working with an international company like the Shangri-La. So working with Indian companies and then moving to Shangri-La and being able to take the best from both these companies. And finally, he opened a great hotel in Bombay. And we were happy to have him back finally coming to the Taj. And he did some great job and retired from the Taj. Now, of course, Farhat wears two caps. So he's, apart from being a hotelier, he's also the chairman of the Maulana Azad Trust, which has a lot of colleges and universities, and one of them, of course, being the IHM Aurangabad, and also runs the Aurangabad Hotel. So I think he sees from the two different perspectives. So great to have both of you here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yateendra, of course, he's my Rajput brethren, and it's wonderful to see some Rajputs doing so well, and he's been in with the Oberoi background and has been in Switzerland for a long time. My son, Veer, joined Lausanne, and I must say that Yateendra played a very important role as a mentor. Not only did he teach him hoteliering skills, but he also taught him how to play cricket, which he still continues to do so. It's wonderful to have Yateendra also in this, this team today. So I think as I would like to start, I think one of the most critical thing that happens, and I always talked about, for me, I know it's been discussed, most of the subjects have already been discussed, but from the veterans' point of view, I want to ask Rajiv, leadership is seen major changes. Bob Davids says that leadership without ego is the highest level of leadership. There are different types of leadership, we all know that. So I don't want to get into all that. But you know, he talks about Mahatma Gandhi, Martin King Luther, Lee Kuan Yew. We also had some great leaders in Mr. M.S. Oberoi, Mr. Ajit Kerkar, Captain Nair, Major Rahman. So I don't want to name too many, but we can't forget them. For me, my personal great leader is Mr. J.R.D. Tata. We've had Mr. Ratan Tata doing some great things. So I wanted to just ask Rajiv, you have been a leader, so has Farhat and Yateendra, for many years, and you led large teams. What are some of the changes that you are seeing in this new hospitality and new age hoteling that's taking place, and what are the new types of leaders that are coming? Are there new challenges that they're facing, or you're finding that there's anywhere a change happening in people? I would really like you to hear from you on.
You know, so we live in a VUCA world, so clearly there is tremendous amount of change. But to me, personally, I think the essence of leadership is, you know, we have worked with some great people, great mentors and great leaders, and seen firsthand how some people get an above average performance from average people. And there are some people who get an average performance from above average people. You know? So it's the reverse. And I think that's the real essence of leadership. How do you get the best out of every members from your team, you know? How does the sum become greater than the sum of its parts? You know? That's really what it is. At the same time, you're a leader only if you have followers. So you have to look back to see who's following you. That I think is one clear reality check that needs to be done. Now, in our era, we were brought up on a diet of tough love. That's how it was. Now, how relevant it is today would be an interesting question, you know. My children tell me, and some of my younger colleagues tell me that that time has passed. You know, tough love is not there. Now, my question is that if you see an uncut diamond, how are you going to polish it? Can you ever polish a diamond gently? It has to be tough love. There has to be friction, you know. So if you really want to achieve that greatness, and when you see it in one of your team members that, you know, he can or she can achieve something great, you would love to, I think it's your duty to polish it. And you know, there will be pressure and friction and tough love. So that's one thing. You know, I think that, yes, clearly, maybe you need to have different strokes for different folks. So, in our long, we've all been leaders. We've also seen that you cannot be the same person. You have to. Leadership is basically reacting to a situation. It's situational leadership. Correct. I mean, there is wartime leadership, and then there is peacetime leadership. Both that flexibility and that bandwidth is required. So while we keep saying that, oh, much has changed, I think that, you know, fundamentally people do not change. And you need to, and I think that you need to have the wisdom to know what should never change and what should change. That, I think, is the key to a great leader. Because we keep hearing about the new gen, the millennials and the Z generation, right? The Gen Z and all that thing. I don't think they are so different. I mean, we are behaving as though they're coming from another planet. I think that we need to speak to them a little longer. We perhaps need to change our vocabulary, maybe use more emoticons and then less words. But they are from the same, you know, they come from us. And it's something which I was thinking about this morning. I do my best thinking in the shower. So this thought came to me this morning that, you know, we keep saying in hotels, oh, it's not the same. People have changed. That love for service is gone. It's a different generation, instant gratification. While all of that is true, I was just thinking that you have the same people, the people from the same generation who are joining the armed forces. They have the same, you know, love and for glory and valor and motherhood, motherland. It hasn't changed. It's the same generation.
Thank you. I mean,
it's the same generation. Now, I think it is really incumbent upon us and today's leaders. How do you connect with them? Because maybe the bridges that were relevant yesterday are perhaps not the best bridges today. So how you have to connect is perhaps where you need to think.
Interesting. Thank you, Rajiv. To Farhat, I'm saying, I know that they say that the managers today you can make managers in various IIM colleges and IIT colleges and various other, but leadership is something that's very difficult. It's got to be either you're born to be a leader or you learn to be a leader. What is your view on that?
No, Veeru, you know, my take on this is that this whole myth of either you're a born leader or not a born leader. If there were born leaders, then we wouldn't have so many hundreds and thousands of leaders that are there today. The problem today that I see, because we have really paucity of time, so I'm going to be very, very specific, is the fact that today's generation of middle managers to senior managers, to middle managers to, I won't call them senior managers, but general managers level, are they having enough more role models to look up to? Are they having enough people to look up to? Are they having enough coaches and individuals who can guide them, who can actually help them with the sort of the challenges that they're going to face in the transition that they're facing today? Today we are living in a very transitional world because this transition from being a functional head to a GM is a big shift today. If you just look at a hospitality GM, you know, you are a functional head, you are a director of rooms, or you are an F&B, you become a GM, then you haven't had that skill set of being a journalist at all. You constantly get drawn to your functional skill. And that's where the fault lies in terms of the way you want to develop people. I think the focus for the industry today, all groups actually, not just us, not just, when I say us, I mean not just for Indian hotels, just for all groups is to coach and mentor individuals when they grow. Because if you're not going to coach and mentor, you're likely to have not a very high success rate. Then the second point that's very important is how do you retain talent today? Because you have, you know, the talent, the amount of investment that you make in individuals today is actually is not quantifiable. You can't measure it in money, actually. So those people who leave you, for whatever reasons they leave you, whether it's lots of people, theories go, they leave because of the managers, is the fact that once they have gone, to replace them, to train another bunch of people, is very, very expensive. So I think there's a constant training, coaching, making sure that their motivation levels are high. And the most important part today is how do you upskill them? Upskilling is a very important part. Today, I know for a fact there are many groups today, I'm sure, who are sending their people for revenue management programs. They're sending them for other digital programs, for example, and trying to make them future ready. Because you got to understand that while one space which I feel, I think there is a bit of a disconnect, Rajiv, you might comment on this, is the customer connect today. Is the manager on the shop floor at all today? Was it the same as it was in the past? I don't know. I have my reservations on that, because the manager on the shop floor was like you are on the stage all the time. And you had that relationship with people. You were the mayor of the city in some cases. You know, you literally behaved like one if you're not one. Because you were seen in that reverence, because you cared for the people. You cared. You didn't want that business. You cared for the people. You cared for the customers. You stayed late nights for them. And you wanted to deliver excellence, and you wanted to deliver that love to them for the brand. And people never left you for that. No one, the customer never used to leave you for that. So, Rajiv, I don't know, am I making sense to that?
No, I think we'll go
Farhat,
later to that,
yeah.
into
So Farhat has,
the role of a general manager. I
Yeah,
suppose.
so Farhat has also covered a couple of other points. Back home in Switzerland, and being in one of the best institutes, you worked for many years with École des Hôteliers Lausanne. Do you have something like specialized leadership development programs that you do for your students there?
First, I'll go backwards in general sense a little bit. We had tough love as a statement from Mr. Kaul. I've received the tough love because I was a waiter when we were doing that LHW event, and he was our general manager. So, the past was leadership by compression. The modern paradigm of leadership, the language has changed, the purpose hasn't changed, is much more leadership by support or servant leadership. And that was said by the two colleagues on the panel in any case, is how do you encourage people to jump higher? And then what we tend to do is that in education, we try and drive that by giving students opportunity in the classroom and outside of the classroom. So there are moments that are pre-designed where they are encouraged to express that leadership. Modern day leadership is no longer an expression of how many people follow you, but it's also an expression of what purpose you lead, what project you lead, what knowledge you lead. So you can lead through multiple paradigms, because today you will be leading a team which is virtual and it can be in any part of the world. So you can then lead by a particular topic or subject or a technology. And the way we work it in education is giving students opportunity, but it's pre-planned, it's designed. It may not be obvious to them, they may not be graded on it directly, but they're graded on it indirectly.
Great, thank you, Yateendra. I think I'll have to move a little fast. I think a lot of us are sitting here just now today with many general managers here, and I think all of us have been general managers for 15 to 20 years. So I would like to maybe ask Rajiv, this new, if I can call him the general manager, the animal, is he changing? Is he a different breed today than what it was during our times? And what are the new challenges these people are facing? Are they changing for the right? Are they all becoming more and more sitting in front of the laptops? Are they connected to the people? So just if you can give us your views.
So I think we need to understand how much in the last 30 years the hotel landscape has changed in the country. Earlier you had, and I'm not trying to make this an Indian versus a foreign brand. That's not the context. But I'm just saying that basically you had the Oberoi, the Taj, then later on IDC and Leela, who owned their hotels and developed their talent. That's the way it was, you know. And then you had the advent of international chains who, you know, really came, and today they are the dominant forces. Why I'm saying this is because there is a lurking danger here. The danger is that, to me, this is my personal viewpoint, how is the industry even, what is the nomenclature that is used for this industry in the West? It's called the lodging industry, whereas we call it the hospitality industry. And I think that explains everything. So I fear when I see sometimes our footsteps progressing along the pathway of lodging industry. And I think that is something which today's leaders must safeguard. I think we can manage it very well, but that I think is the first duty, you know. And as the general manager, he sets the tone. So it's really for the general manager to manage senior management, but everybody to, but that is the key. The second thing is that I think for many of us in the room of a certain vintage, and probably beyond that, you know, a luxury hotel general manager was the greatest job in the world. I don't hear that being said by anybody. I think we need to reaffirm that. We need to just tell these guys how lucky they are. It's always been spoken about, oh my God, look at the long hours, look at this, look at the pressure, look at the, you know, there is joy. This is the only, I mean, if I had to do it all over again, I would not change anything. Because we have a magnificent world, chandeliers above, you know, soft carpets below, beautiful flowers around. It's an ocean of positivity and happiness and joy. And you're curating special moments for people. So I think you need to, you know, you need to focus on that. That is exactly what, and that is what will ignite the passion, the pride, and the joy. And I think that is what needs to be transmitted to our associates, you know. How fortunate we are to be in this profession.
Sure, sure.
I don't know why people have to apologize for this.
Yes. So the passion that the general manager used to be, I remember I met Mr. Kurt Waxvital, the general manager of the Oriental Bangkok, and he was about 65, 75 years old, and he didn't want to do anything as just be a general manager. I met this lady, the PR manager at the Bon Rivage Palace in Switzerland, and she was 75 years old, and she was the PR manager. But things changed, and I know one of our leaders told some of our young general managers that if you're seen after 7 p.m. in the hotel, that means you've not developed a number 2. So things started changing a lot. So as rightly Rajiv said, there's a difference between the hospitality or the lodging industry, as they call in the West, and the hospitality industry, as they call here.
It is true that we also had, you know, what they used to call the cock-sniffing general manager. You know, you needed to go beyond that. So you clearly need to have a full repertoire of business skills.
Sure.
Correct. Then you need to know your hoteliering skills.
Sure.
And then you also need to be able to play big brother or daddy or whatever is the family culture of that particular organization. Sure. So these are 3 things that you need to really span. You know?
Yeah, but Rajiv, you know, the central point of this industry at every level actually is about people. Central point is people, people management. There's no other industry that is actually so intense in terms of your ability to manage people, to manage circumstances which lead to, you know, various experiences that happen in a hotel. And I think that is a very, not many people have kind of, I'm not saying they don't have the skills, but how good they are at managing people.
But Farhat, this is something which is born out of, not out of attending a degree course, but really through life's experience.
No,
like
but what I'm saying is that people who join the industry today, are they comfortable? Are they enjoying being with people? That's what I'm trying to say. Are they enjoying with people? Is their motto? My motto is to serve. So serve people, to serve humanity, serve my family, serve in my new avatar as my students and my principals and what have you. My motto is to serve. That's my motto in my life, right? If that is my motto, is to serve people, I thought I fitted in very well with this industry because that's what I wanted to be, and I wanted to make the best of it. And it didn't matter how many hours it demanded for me to be there. I wrote a small piece, Rajiv, on the Queen's visit to Chennai when I was Taj Coromandel GM. She stayed with me at the hotel for 3 nights. Can you believe that? 3 nights the Queen staying in your hotel, who just passed away. And as a general manager, it was not just a great honor, of course, the fact is that it was an experience of a lifetime because the kind of preparations that you had to do as per the instructions of the palace and the rituals and the formalities of a queen's visit was enormous. Where would you get a job which you're so intensely involved with any VIP or any important person in life, and to understand what goes behind to make those events a success? What goes behind? There's so much that goes behind to make an event a success. We are sitting in this room and I know what goes behind to make this event a success. It's a huge amount of effort that goes behind to make the success, and that is the passion that hotel general manager need to have, and that's where the people skills come in. People skills come in. Yeah.
So, thank you, Farhat. To Yateendra, I know the EHL and many other good institutes, I believe 85% of the people are not joining hotel industries. So, that's my question to you is that what should we be doing differently as an industry to try and attract more people from catering colleges to join us and to become good general managers?
So the battle is on, right? What happens is similar to what Farhat said, that you want people who like people. And other industries have also realized that liking people is an exceptional trait, and they can use that in their businesses wherever they have customers. So what we face in schools and graduates that come out of schools is that there's an equal demand from other industries, automobile, insurance, finance, banks, etc. And we're now competing for that talent on an equal basis. Earlier we were competing on an unequal basis because the other companies or organizations or industries have not realized that this talent exists and it's pre-prepared available. What we have to do is we have to fight with them a battle on their terms sometimes, and sometimes on our terms. So sometimes we have to say, hey, what's the joy of working, just as Rajiv said, that you're working in an environment which you can control yourself. Whereas when you go work for banks, you can't control the environment. You're obliged to work with the IT regulations of the bank. And you are straitjacketed in there. So instead of just saying, listen, they offer you 5 days a week and they offer you weekends off, we can also offer you 5 days a week and certain weekends off. But the rest of the time, you've got a lot more freedom in our trade as compared to going into insurance, going into vehicle dealerships, because you only become one small part of the trade. You are not the core of the trade. The core is still engineering or finance or other aspects of their business. Whereas here in hotel keeping, if you join hotel keeping and you're trained for hotel keeping, you are running the core of the business. And
Sure.
that needs to be better explained to young graduates.
For sure. I think we have little time. I want to ask one more question. Today, the entire industry is having the talent and manpower woes. Difficult to get good people who are trained. People are finding alternate jobs in different industries. Our salaries are not matching. The work-life balance is one of the great concerns. So what are some of your suggestions, Rajiv? How are we going to be kind of fighting this problem?
See, majority of the problems are of our own making. You know, we are guilty of it in the sense that it was tough love, right? So that was the era. You can fix it. I mean, we already talked about 5 days, 5-day weeks. You've got to have a work-life balance. Hotels will have to, food and beverage has to run 2 shifts. There has to be lunch and dinner. But you have to work your way around it. So I think that, you have to pay people better. If you want to have better talent, then you'll have to pay better. So these are not really difficult things. But I think some of the other things that have been talked about, we have been disrespectful of our institutes. There has been an unhealthy gulf between industry and academia.
Colleges.
So I think these are some of the self-goals that we have successfully scored over the decades that have to be now reversed. And it's doable. I mean, I'm totally confident that the industry can fix it. I think it is simply a question of willpower. We don't fix things until it really comes to pass, so.
Thank you.
I think as far as education is concerned, I'm very much part of it now, and Dilip is sitting here, and Pansab, I don't know where he's gone. I think we are facing a challenge in terms of the intake of students. But I think, to me, it is a bit transitionary. I think it's not going to last for long. The industry, I think, has enough potential. The headroom for the kind of supply that is required in our country for hospitality industry itself is huge, huge, absolutely, over the next 5 years or decade, thereabouts. So I have absolutely no reasons for concerns that our institutes are not going to be full to capacity. They will be full to capacity, yes. Concerns are there, the compensation packages need to change. There has to be a greater connect with the industry professionals, with the industry itself. Today, I think there is a far less connect with the industry. There has to be much greater connect. You know, I have my son-in-law who's in Boots in Chicago, and where Raghuram Rajan teaches, and he said that amount of industry professionals who come and teach there, 1 year off, taking 2 years off and go and teach there, I think that's the kind of thing that we as professionals owe to our institutes, to give our 1 year off, give our 2 years off, and say we will spend time with our kids for the future, inspire them, share the knowledge that we have, and I think it's the paradigm shift is going to happen then. Yet that is, onus is on us to do it, all of us, including myself. And I think that doesn't happen. Today we are leaving only to the academicians. Pansa baithe yahan par. Lots of the professors and Dilip is sitting here, they only left it to them. We are not getting our professional managers to say, okay, we are giving you 1 year off, go and teach in ISH, go and teach in IHM, and you come back to us. We will pay you still.
Absolutely. I think
we will pay you.
We
will compensate you also at the same time. I think there needs to be greater synergy between the industry and the hotel management institutes, and the future is bright. And from the applications that I saw, I have to say on the closing remarks, one thing that I saw very evident, which the general managers, particularly the general managers, who wrote about sustainability and the concern for environment. Very, very heartening efforts, without the corporate office interventions, their own passion of making a difference to the communities they're living in. Aman sir, you sitting here, and exactly the same feelings that I got from a lot of the GM applications that I got. They have done an amazing job to help the community in times of trouble and continue to do so, to amalgamate them into the culture, give them jobs, give them the opportunities, give them a future to them and to their children.
Thank you, Farhat.
So that's a great thing that the GMs are doing. So I have to, on a positive note, I have to say that we must respect that.
Thank you.
And I think we'll have more individuals like this.
I think our times is up, so thank you so much, Farhat. I think the only one more thing that we need to keep in mind is, as a lot of our staff have moved to other sister industries, this is also an opportunity for us to get back staff from other sister industries. If it's airlines, if it is different industries where they've gone to, let's try and get them back and see that, the good people are always embraced and don't let them go. So thank you so much. I do not want to take more time, but thank you, Farhat. Thank you, Rajiv.
Thank you, Viru.
Thank you, Yateendra.